What if I told you that the key to unlocking your dreams isn't about working harder, but aligning deeper? That instead of grinding yourself into exhaustion, you could ride a wave of energy that carries you exactly where you need to go. In astrology, we call this living in flow, a dance between cosmic timing and your own inspired action. And when you master it, life stops feeling like a battle and starts feeling like magic. Today, we're going to explore the spiritual art of inspired action, how to recognize it, how to trust it, and how to weave it into your daily life so you can live in flow no matter what's going on in the stars or in the world around you. Hello, beautiful souls, and welcome back to the Ocean Moonflower Show. I'm Ocean Moonflower, psychic medium, astrologer, tarot reader, Reiki master, and your guide to blending the mystical with the practical so you can create a life that feels both magical and deeply grounded. If you've been listening for a while, you know I'm all about giving you spiritual wisdom that you can actually use. But while I love diving deep into the astrology, the tarot, and the unseen, I believe it's what we do with that insight that shapes our lives. And if you're brand new here, welcome. You've found your safe space to grow, to connect, and to remember who you truly are. So let's dive into one of my favorite topics of all time, living in the flow. So what does flow really mean? When I talk about flow, I'm not talking about drifting aimlessly through life. Flow isn't about sitting on your couch waiting for the universe to drop opportunities into your lap. And it's definitely not about overworking, overthinking, and forcing everything to happen on your timeline. Flow is that sweet spot in between. It's when you're connected to your intuition, aware of the energies around you, and taking action that feels aligned and alive. Think of it like this. You're a surfer. The ocean is life. You cannot control the tides, the waves, or the weather. But you can learn to read the water, feel its rhythm, and paddle into the right wave at the right time. When you're in flow, you stop fighting the current. You're still moving, still steering, still making choices. But instead of struggling upstream, you're allowing the momentum of life to work with you and not against you. Astrologically, flow is often reflected in the transits, where our personal planets, like the Sun, Mercury, Venus, and Mars, are making supportive aspects. That's when action feels easier. But here's the truth. You don't need perfect astrology to live in flow. You can choose to align with it every single day, even during challenging aspects. Because the truth is, flow isn't something you find in the stars. It's something you find in yourself. Now, there's one big misunderstanding about flow, and I want to clear it up right away. It's the misconception about go with the flow. A lot of people think go with the flow means being passive, doing nothing, making no plans, letting life just sort of happen. But here's the truth. True flow is active. It's intentional. It's like paddling that surfboard. You can't just lie there and expect the wave to carry you. You have to read the signs, feel the timing, and be ready to pop up when the energy is right. Inspired action is the movement within the flow. It's what keeps you from drifting into places you don't want to be. If flow is the current, inspired action is the steering. So, what exactly is inspired action? Inspired action is when you feel a pull, sometimes subtle, sometimes like a lightning bolt, to do something and to do something now. It might scare you a little. It might not make total logical sense just yet, but deep down it feels right. It's not about what you think you should do. It's not about pleasing other people. It's about what's in alignment with your higher self, doing that very thing that's in alignment. For example, maybe you get this nudge to reach out to someone you haven't spoken to in years. You don't know why, but you follow it. And that conversation leads to an opportunity, a healing, or a new connection you couldn't have predicted. Or maybe you've been thinking about starting a project, a business, or a creative piece of work. Inspired action is saying yes to the spark before you've mapped out every detail, because the timing feels right in your body and soul. Now, if we bring astrology into this, inspired action often lines up with transits involving Mars, our planet of drive, and Mercury, our planet of thought and communication. But again, don't wait for the perfect astrology. The action itself can create the momentum that opens doors. So, how do you know if an action is truly inspired? Before you leap, it's worth checking in with yourself. Here are 4 questions I use and invite you to write these down. The first one: does it feel expansive or constricting? When you think about doing this, do you feel a sense of openness, relief, or excitement? Or do you instead feel this tight, heavy obligation? Another thing you can ask yourself: is it in alignment with my values and my long term vision? Now, this one's huge. Just because something feels good in the moment doesn't mean it serves your bigger picture. Thirdly, am I doing this to express myself or to prove myself? Inspired action is about expression, not proving your worth to others. And number 4, does it feel natural to take this step right now? Sometimes the right action feels inevitable. You cannot not do it. But you have to clear some blocks to flow. Here's where most people get stuck. They try to live in flow, but they're dragging emotional anchors that keep pulling them under. These emotional anchors can be overthinking, perfectionism, attachment to specific outcomes, fear of judgment, fear of failure. But here's the thing: these blocks don't mean you're broken, they mean you're human. But you can't carry all that weight and expect to float effortlessly. To clear these blocks, start with awareness. When you notice yourself spiraling in thought, gripping tightly to one outcome, or worrying about what others think, pause, breathe, ask yourself, if I fully trusted myself and the universe right now, what would I do? That one question has changed my life more times than I can count. Let me repeat it in case you need to hear it again. If I fully trusted myself and the universe right now, what would I do? Living in flow isn't a one-time choice, it's a daily practice. And the more you practice, the more natural it becomes. Here's some ways to start. Have a morning check-in. When you look at your phone, ask, what do I feel called to do today? What do I feel called to do today? I can guarantee you're not being called to sit there and watch Instagram reels for 3 hours. So instead of using your phone to do that, before you pick up that phone, ask yourself that question. Follow the energy. If you suddenly feel like creating, moving, or reaching out to someone, act on it before doubt creeps in. Doubt is always a killer to the energy, so follow it. Leave space. Don't pack your schedule so tightly that there's no room for magic. I know I've done this before in the past. I sit down every day. I sit down with my planner. It doesn't matter if it's Saturday or Sunday. Every day I sit down with my planner. I look at the day. I look at the things that I'm hoping to accomplish in that day. And in the past, I used to fill up every single moment. From 8 to 8:30, I'm going to do this. From 8:30 to 8:45, I'm going to do this, etc., etc. Now I list out, these are the things that I feel inspired to get done today. If I get them done, that's great. If I don't, but I get a subset of them done, I'm still living in the flow. I'm still doing what I'm being called to do. And so you have to leave room for the magic to happen. You have to leave room for spirit to speak, for the universe to give you those synchronicities, to give you guidance, to give you that sense of, okay, this is what you're being called for. This is part of your personal mission. This is part of your personal goal that you're working towards. Here's some inspired action. And trust the no. The last thing, trust the no. If something feels heavy, it's okay to decline without over explaining. You never have to explain yourself. If it feels heavy, it's a no. Like, no. Just trust that no. Because that's your gut, your intuition saying, oh, this is not in alignment with my higher self. This is not in alignment with my personal direction. But if it's just shadow work and fear, that's something entirely different, because you can transmute that into change. So yes, sometimes the moon signs will influence this. And if the moon sign is a fire sign like Aries or Leo, you might feel more energized and ready to take bold steps. If the moon is in water like Pisces or Cancer, you may feel drawn to rest, reflect, or work on something behind the scenes. So you also need to honor the moon cycles and the astrological timings, as well as honor your own feelings and emotions. Flow isn't always fast, though. Sometimes the most aligned thing you can do is actually slow down. That's not failure. That's winter before spring. If things feel quiet, trust that there's growth happening beneath the surface. The roots are strengthening. The soil is preparing. The energy is gathering. Astrologically, retrogrades often bring these slower periods. They're not here to block you. They're not here to cause you harm or to cause you overthinking, things of that nature. They're here to help you recalibrate so when the energy moves forward again, you're ready. Living in the flow is about partnership with life. It's listening to the whispers of your own intuition, noticing the signs in your environment, and taking steps that feel true to you, even if they scare you. It's not about doing everything. It's about doing the right things at the right time, in the right way for you. When you live like this, life becomes less about control, more about collaboration. And in that space, the magic you've been chasing finally has room to reach you. Thank you for joining me for this episode of the Ocean Moonflower Show. If today's message resonated, share it with someone who's ready to move from hustle into harmony. And remember, the flow is always there. All you have to do is step into it.